Hey guys, welcome back to Peterson Family Adventures. We are gearing up, literally gearing up, for our next adventure, which is our very first backpacking trip. It's going to be me, it's going to be Bobby, who is 12, and it's going to be my second oldest son, Jared, who's almost 10. So it's the three of us, and we're just going to do a really quick gear check, gear loadout here. And one thing to keep in mind when watching this gear loadout, this gear check, if you're somebody that's into that, is we are beginners, we are newbies. Also, the terrain that we're going to be hiking on is not mountainous, not rocky. Next year I'd like to hit the AT, the Appalachian Trail. But this year we're just going to be hiking the flat New Jersey, well, relatively flat, New Jersey Batona Trail. So the terrain is going to be easy. This is really just a practice trip. It's just a one-nighter. Next year or in the spring, I would love to be able to do a 2 or 3-nighter with the boys. But this is just to see how they do, to see how I do, to see how we pack and how we unpack, and just to live and learn a little bit. So this is not top of the line gear by any means. This is budget gear. Everything that was here, that you see here, is purchased from either Walmart, Ollie's, if you have an Ollie's near you, if you know what that is, it's like a discount store, Harbor Freight, and Ross, places like that. So everything that you see here, we either already owned, in some cases borrowed, or purchased from relatively cheap establishments, or not cheap establishments, but you know what I mean. Discount establishments or places like Walmart. So we didn't go to REI, I didn't even go to Dick's, so this is not going to be top of the line, super lightweight stuff. So just keep that in mind as you're watching this gear loadout. I'm definitely open to advice because this is our first trip. Really it's my first trip, and it's obviously my boys' first trip. We've been camping before, we've just never really been backpacking. We never put everything on our backs and taken it 10 miles in and then set up camp. So that's going to be new for us. But let's take a look at this gear here, and if you have any recommendations, obviously I'm not going to be switching anything out. We're going this weekend, so I'm not going to be switching anything out right away, but we are going to be building our supplies and upgrading within the next couple of years, because we would like to make this a steady hobby of ours, backpacking and hiking and overnights and things like that. So just keep in mind that this is pretty basic stuff. We're just starting out. Some people might say, well, why aren't you using this? Why aren't you using that? Why don't you have this? Already maxed out our budget for our adventure for this month. So just keep that in mind as you look at our gear loadout. But again, if you have any recommendations, if you see anything that's missing, let me know in the comments. Okay, so normally in a gear loadout video, you would expect me to talk about the tent. I'm not really going to talk about our tent a whole lot because this is borrowed. I borrowed it from my cousin. And it's a 3 to 4 person tent. That's really all I know. But beggars can't be choosers. So we are, it looks nice from what I've seen. I briefly opened it. I haven't set it up yet. I'm going to set it up probably a day or two before we go out. I have some time to do that. And you'll be able to see it when we go on our hike. We'll show you some footage of us in the tent, obviously. But I don't want to talk too much about the tent because it's not even mine. I borrowed it. And like I said, I don't want to be critiquing or anything like that, something that I borrowed that my cousin was nice enough to lend me. So we're not going to talk too much about the tent, and that might seem weird for a gear loadout for us to not really talk about the tent. But it's light enough. I haven't weighed everything. I've seen plenty of videos where they're talking about how many pounds and ounces everything is. We're not there yet, so I don't even have a scale that I could put these on. So we'll figure that out, and I'll be able to tell you how heavy it feels by about 5 miles in. So, but it seems relatively light as of right now. So that's our tent, and we'll be able to, all 3 of us, sleep in this tent. So that's that. Sleeping bags, again, we're going pretty basic with the sleeping bags. This is not, your ideal backpacking sleeping bag. It's a little large. It's lightweight, and it doesn't weigh too much, but at the same time it's going to take up a lot of space, as you can tell when we strap it in. Alright, let's talk footwear. These boots I've had since probably around 2012, so I've had these boots for about 8 years. and they are awesome. They are high tech. That's the brand. I'm sure they're high tech in and of themselves, but the brand is high tech, and I'm sure if you're an experienced hiker or boot enthusiast, you've heard of the brand. But I mean, other than just the physical wear and tear and just the look, these boots just functionally are they're still in great shape. They're almost at 100% still, even after 8 years. And I've worn them in the snow and things like that. They're waterproof. The tread is still really intact after 8 years. These are just awesome boots. However, they're really heavy. I mean, for a hiking boot, they're really heavy. For a work boot, they're about medium. You know, they're just, you know, would be a regular any old boot. But for a hiking boot, they're a little heavy. And so I'm also thinking about possibly trading these and not wearing these and just going with an old pair of Asics. So it really is going to depend on what the weather is like. It's not supposed to be too rainy or anything like that, but it's been rainy. So if it's wet and muddy, you know, I might have to go with the heavy clod hoppers that are waterproof. If it's fairly dry, you know, we'll probably end up going with the running shoes. So that's what I have as far as footwear. If you think you know what I should wear this weekend in southern New Jersey, let me know. Should I go with the running shoes or should I go with the clod hoppers there, the high tech? Let's talk about clothing. I'm trying to get the bigger items out of the way, and then I'll grab the camera off the stand and we'll go and look at some of the smaller stuff. Let's talk about clothing. For myself, again, this is pretty much all, you know, either stuff that I already owned or got from Walmart. You know, at Walmart they have a lot of lightweight, outdoorsy pants that are either by their outdoor brand, outdoor products, or something like that. In this case, Wrangler. And you know, these pants are awesome. I've worn them several times. They have plenty of pockets and zippers. They're lightweight. They are, you know, polyester or nylon, spandex actually. Sorry. So they're, you know, moisture wicking. They'll be great if it's wet. You know, better than wearing jeans or anything like that. But yeah, that's what these pants are made for. Obviously, it's not, you know, they're not like $50, you know, Mountain Hardwear pants or anything like that. It's a Walmart equivalent, but it's good for what we're doing. Winter hat, dust bunny. Down here in the dust bunnies live down here in the headquarters. Some thermal gloves, also from Walmart. This I've had forever, my Columbia fleece, very warm. Possibly a vest. I like vests because it really keeps your core warm. For me, they work out. You know, I can usually wear a vest instead of a coat, instead of a heavy coat, and I'm still just as warm with it keeping my core warm. And then my arms are free. So that's going to be kind of what I'm wearing, and I'll probably pack a few extras, and of course I'm going to layer. I have some long underwear. This is some long underwear bottoms that someone gave me by Medalist, and I have a couple other pairs, but these are my favorites so far. So that's my kit in terms of what I'm going to be wearing, in case you're wondering what I'm going to be wearing, which I'm sure you all were. Now, this is just an example of what my boys are going to be wearing. It's supposed to be cold. It's not going to be as cold as it was this past weekend. It was down in the low 30s in this weekend here in New Jersey, but it's supposed to still be relatively cold and probably in like the 40s at night and things like that. So I know at night we're going to need plenty of layers. So I do have long underwear that I got from my boys. Long underwear for them. Winter hats, I don't know, you know, if they'll wear them, but I definitely want them to have them available. Gloves, especially at night and things like that, just to help you keep warm and things like that. Vest, again, I like the vests, and you know, just a hoodie, and over the long underwear, I'm probably going to want them to wear some sort of breathable, again, moisture wicking athletic pant. And this isn't just a sweat pant, it has kind of like another outer layer on it, but it should be good for keeping things lightweight and breathable and moving, but at the same time, especially when you combine it with the long underwear, should be plenty of warm for them. And like I said, some of it is going to depend on last minute calls as to what we wear, depending on how cold it is, because the weather report might not be right, depending on, if it's wet at all, things like that. Let's see, let's look at some other big ticket items here. I know you're all wondering about packs. So this is our most recent addition here. This is the pack that I got for Jared, and I might upload the video of us shopping for it actually, but this is a nice military style pack. It's by Highland Tactical, which I've never really heard of that brand, but I mean, it's, I got it at Ross for $30, so seems like it's a pretty decent pack, and it has the main things that I wanted. And the main things that I wanted were hydration compatibility. As you can see, it has some area in there for a hydration pouch. And watching some of the videos I've seen, some people like the hydration pouches, some people don't. I think it's going to be good for us to have for Jared and for the younger guys. And if it ends up being something that is too heavy, maybe we'll just have some water bottles instead. So we'll see. Again, this is kind of like an experimental thing. The backpack also has some straps here for sleeping bags and bedrolls and things like that. So Jared's not quite 10 yet. He's almost 10. He is big for his age, a pretty strong kid, but at the same time, I don't want him to be carrying, an entire kit himself. So this is Bobby's pack right here, and this was given to him a number of years ago when he was in Cub Scouts, and it was given to him by his grandfather, my father-in-law. And it's a good pack. It's stood up to a couple different Boy Scout or Cub Scout camping trips. The only thing, this one is not hydration compatible. But you know what? It'll be nice to have the packs that are and the packs that are not, just to see what the difference will be. We can kind of develop a preference as to what we want, whether we like the hydration pack or whether we just prefer to keep it on the side here and some lightweight water bottles or things like that. So like I said, this is kind of a practice run trip, so it'll be interesting to see what differences, the difference in the gear will make. Now this is my pack, and it's actually not mine. This actually belongs to one of my brothers. So Joe or Dave, if you're watching this, thank you. I used to have a pack just like this, and it's actually really old. It's from 2006, which is when I graduated college. Me and a couple of my friends and my brothers, we were all talking about taking this really long Appalachian Trail trip after we graduated from college, and that's when I graduated, was in 2006. And we made all these big plans. We wanted to go up to Maine and start there. We weren't going to do the whole Appalachian Trail, but it was going to be like a week-long thing, and we had all these grandiose plans of what we were going to do. And it never materialized. Things just kind of fell apart, and we all graduated college, and then we had to start working and things like that, obviously. The real world hit real fast, but before that happened, my mom had actually gotten us all packs, and I had a green one that was just like this, and I think it may have gotten misplaced in the move a couple of years back. But I'm borrowing this one because it was still up in my attic. I purchased my mom's house a number of years ago. And so, like I said, to whoever brother this belongs to, thanks a lot. This is a Jansport, and it's a backpack style. I haven't found anywhere on here how many liters it is. I looked. But I'm guessing it's probably around 65 at least. It's a pretty big pack, but it has all the bells and whistles that you want. It's hydration compatible, even though it's a little older. It has a nice frame, the mesh ventilation here back, so you won't sweat too much. Pretty hefty waist straps, your rain cover, lots of different pockets. So that'll do just nicely for us. Alright, so that's backpacks. Let's see. I'm trying to think of anything else that's bigger that I should show you before I kind of zoom in on some of the littler stuff, smaller stuff. The only thing that I can think of that's a little bit bigger that I'm going to show you right now while I have the camera on the tripod is the bedroll here. This is my bedroll. Now, when we were shopping, I said, what do you guys think about a bedroll? You think you'd need something like that? Asking my two kids. And they said no, and at that time I was inclined to believe them, because we've had sleepovers and stuff here where they're sleeping down here in the basement just for fun. And I found them, even though I'll set up air mattresses and beds on the couch and things like that, I've said those things. Sometimes I'll come down here and they're just sleeping on the floor. And it's funny the stuff that kids can get away with that, if you or I, if you're an adult watching this, if we tried to do it, sleep on the floor here, we'd be waking up with all sorts of aches and pains. For me, I'm almost 240 pounds, so if I'm sleeping on the ground, even if there's a sleeping bag underneath me, I need another layer, or else I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be in a world of hurt. But I do have a yoga mat here, and I'm probably going to grab another one of these from Walmart. They're pretty cheap. So this will act as kind of like the camp pad or the bed pad for the boys. All right, they'll each have a little yoga mat to go under their sleeping bag. And it'll probably help keep them a little bit warmer too, so it's not just the sleeping bag, the tent floor, and the ground. All right, we're going to get down to it with some of the smaller items here, and some of the smaller items are actually some of the most important items. So we have a mess kit here. This is a mess kit that I got at Walmart. Not expensive at all. Just plastic. The only downside with this mess kit is some mess kits you can actually cook with, depending on what they're made out of. But this is really just for eating out of. We're gonna have to bring our cookware separate. Just one pan. But I really like these bowls. Again, this is either Ozark Trail or Outdoor Products, Walmart brand, but it works. So I really like these bowls that pop out. The other thing that I like, real basic stuff here, but is this. It's all, you don't have to worry about losing anything, which is, if you're me, especially, when you have two boys, under your supervision, I would be losing stuff all the time. So the more that you can kind of prevent that from happening, that'll work nicely with this. So yeah, you got your dishes, if you want to use these for cups or bowls, whatever you want to do there. This is our cooking pan here. Again, pretty basic. I tried to get the deepest one possible so that we can boil water and things like that if we want to do that. Now, speaking of boiling water, let's take a look-see at our stove situation. Your basic camp stove. This is a propane stove. I am completely unexperienced with this. I've never used one of these. I mean, I'm sure it's not rocket science, but I already messed up once, and I'll show you how I messed up. So this is a propane stove right here, okay? This is what they had sitting in Walmart. Stacks and stacks of them, dozens of them, sitting aligned on the shelves right next to the stove. So me just assuming, and we all know what happens when you assume, I just assumed that this was the fuel that you would use with this stove. Just relying on visuals and things like that. However, this is not the right fuel, so I actually need to take this back to Walmart and get a propane canister. My first clue was the fact that it didn't fit. It goes over, it's supposed to fit inside. It didn't fit on the base. And then my second clue, which was not even a clue, it just told me matter of fact, was how this did not fit into the nozzle. It was way too small. So if you go to Walmart, read, okay? Learn from my mistakes. Read the instructions or whatever. This is propane, butane. We just want the regular green. It's a little thinner and a little taller propane cylinder. So going back to Walmart pretty soon to get that. Alright, let's see. We want to eventually have a fire. It would be nice to have a fire. It's been pretty wet around here, but I'm hoping things dry out. So I'm going to try this, take this with us, and hopefully be able to gather some firewood and then use this to start. That's the plan. As far as making a fire, we have a couple options. With Jared's knife that I bought him, we have this flint kit here. Let's see if I can get it open with one hand. I'm not sure. Yeah, there we go. And he was already running around
he was already running around, not running around, he was already making sparks with this. So we will try this, whether or not it will work. I don't know if I've ever started a fire just using something like this. If not, we have lighters, stormproof matches. So we'll get a fire going somehow, some way. Carabiners, just for attaching stuff to the backpacks, water bottles, whatever. Extra batteries for flashlights and such. This is my hydration pack. It's 3 liters. So, like I said, a lot of backpackers are really concerned with weight. For this trip, I'm not really that concerned with weight. As I get more experienced and things like that, and once I learn how things feel after 10 miles, like I said, it's flat terrain, but once I learn how things feel after a couple miles, I'll be able to tell you, what I think I can do without, what I want to change. But this is a 3 liter, so this might end up getting heavy. I don't know. I'm a pretty strong guy. I don't mind saying it. But at the same time, I'm still new at this, so we'll see. This is a knife that I got at Walmart, $15. I just like the blade. It's only a 3-inch, but I just liked how fat it was for some reason. Just looked kind of strong to me. So, just a little backpacking knife, nothing too intense. This is the knife that I got for Jared. We looked at this in more detail in the other video, the new adventure, new gear video. Headlamps. This is one of those things that I've really heard are essential in setting up. Like, you want a headlamp. This is one of those things that you don't want to go out there and try to set up stuff. Like, I'm filming with one hand right now. I can only imagine trying to set up a camp with one hand, because I'm holding a flashlight in the dark. As you can see, it's pretty bright. I think it's 250 lumens or something like that. This is something, when you have this flash, I don't know why I would use that. Don't get a seizure from this video. So these I got at Ollie's. I forget how much these were, but they were cheap. So I got these at Ollie's. Ollie's is great for stuff like this, like just cheap little things. Also Ollie's, I got some bungees. Obviously I'm not taking this whole thing of bungees with me, but again, this is one of those noob things that you see, and admittedly I'm a noob at backpacking. We're gonna use these to attach bed rolls and things like that. So sorry, but not sorry. This was something that I really had to make a decision on. Now this axe is also a little bit of weight right here. You can see it's 1 1/4 pound. This hatchet, and at first I wasn't going to bring a hatchet, and then I was like, well, we're not packing in firewood. We're certainly not bringing firewood with us, so we're going to have to look around for firewood and gather firewood. So I'm going to use this, and then it occurred to me that I probably should have packed a saw instead of an axe. So maybe, I'm going to definitely see how this goes. I got this at Harbor Freight for like less than $7 with a coupon. So we're going to see how this goes with the axe. And if I want to swap this out for a little flip-out saw later on, my next trip, I'll do that. Water bottles, we have plenty of those. This is just a nice lightweight plastic one, Nalgene knockoff, BPA free, again, Walmart brand. This one's a little heavier, so we might swap these out for the smart water bottles. You're just buying the plastic bottles. That's what I've heard is not a bad idea, just to drop some weight there, so you don't have the water and the stainless steel or the metal weighing you down. These I have to get some more of, because I want to basically chuck a bunch of these in our sleeping bags at night. It's not supposed to be too cold, 40s and 50s at the lowest. But at the same time, that can feel pretty cold in the middle of the night if you're sleeping out in the tent. And our gear is not necessarily made for really cold temperatures, so I definitely want to chuck a couple of these in the sleeping bag. So I'm going to grab a couple more of these. Rain gear. It's not supposed to rain, but you never know. Then my rain gear. Alright, let's talk food. So, on the way in, on our first day, we're hiking in, camping, and then hiking back out. So on the first day we were going to pack a lunch, and I want to be able to pack some, fresh fruits and vegetables, some carrots and apple slices and things like that, so that we can have some fresh food going in, with our sandwiches and things like that. Then when we get to the campsite, we have beef stroganoff and chili mac with beef. Now I've heard some rumors, after purchasing of course, I've heard some rumors about this chili mac with beef, that I might be quite busy at the latrine after eating this. So I will let you know. I've heard mixed reviews on this, that it tastes good, but it might leave you with an afterburn, so to speak, an hour or two later. So we will see what happens. I will definitely update you on that. Okay, if the chili mac bothers me intestinally, I will definitely let you know. Now the next day, I might get something for breakfast, I don't know, and add that, but at this point this is all we have for the next day hiking back out. So this would be breakfast and lunch for the next day. Trail mix, beef jerky, and Clif bars. And that's it. I mean, I honestly don't think my boys will need too much more than that. I wouldn't mind having a nice breakfast, so maybe get some eggs, some powdered eggs or something like that to add to that. So we'll see. Lights, some more lights. These are actually pretty lightweight, even though they're chunky. They're going to take up a lot of space, but I don't feel like going out and buying new flashlights. These are really cheap at Dollar General, so we're going to use them this time around and then use something a little bit nicer. And they're really bright, actually, for how cheap they were. Alright, so that's it. That is my gear check. And this was a partial gear check, obviously. I don't have everything here that we're taking with us. There's a couple more things. What am I missing? Let me know. What am I missing? Duct tape, a medical kit. What am I missing? Let me know. Or, what do I have here that I don't need? What do I need to get rid of? I'm not taking this barbell, so don't worry about that. That's just here because, this is one of my workout spaces. All right, well, thanks for watching my gear loadout. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can get the updates on our very first backpacking trip. More videos coming on this trip. We'll let you know how everything works out, with the weight, with the chili mac, whatever. We'll let you know. Please subscribe, and hopefully we'll be seeing you out there on the trail.